2023 NFL Draft coverage on Keon Sports is brought to you by Hinckley Roofing. Founder of Hinckley Roofing, Steve Walkuski Sr., with years of roofing experience, moved to Hinckley, Ohio in 1958, the home of the Buzzards. Steve is looking to build a company driven on service, quality, and integrity. Hinckley Roofing is a family-owned and operated business serving the northern Ohio area since 1958. Mention Keon Sports when you call for a 10% discount. Got you covered Medina, with everything from blinds, custom bedding, and shutters to shades and drapery. They have it all. Check them out online at www.gotchacovered.com/Medina or call them at 330-446-3647. That's 330-446-3647. TNT Construction. TNT Construction is a private family-owned construction company located in Berea. TNT provides residential and commercial remodeling, construction, and building services to clients in Cleveland and all of Northeast Ohio. Pulp North Olmsted. Hey North Olmsted Eagles fans, former NFL player and Eagle alumni Matt Rothram wants to see you at Pulp North Olmsted. This delicious and healthy meal phenomena is exactly what North Olmsted needed. From wraps to bowls to smoothies and everything in between, this is the perfect healthy option for the person on the go. Stop in and taste for yourself at 27650 Lorraine Road in North Olmsted. The store is at the corner of Porter and Lorraine, right around the block from North Olmsted High School. Stop in before the game this week. And JBL Roofing and Construction. JBL was founded by the Lewis family of Kent, Ohio in 2005 to provide residents with a reliable, professional, and high-quality level of service. Fast forward to today, JBL Roofing and Construction has become one of Northeast Ohio's most trusted roofing and siding companies, performing the highest quality of work on over 3,000 roofs and projects. It's now time for Day 3 of 2023 NFL Draft Prospect Rankings, and it's time to take a look at the linebackers. Hard to believe that 2 position groups already done. After this video, 8 more upcoming. If you have not been paying attention to the articles with the full rankings for each position group, make sure to go to keonsports.com. Everybody, thank you for watching, listening here on the Keon Sports YouTube channel. Again, I'm Cole McDaniel. I have my Cleveland Browns shirt on here right now. Of course, not too far away here from the Browns training facility in Northeast Ohio. And this position group, the linebacker group, one that I think the Cleveland Browns need to pay great attention to, even in the second round. Yes, in the second round as well. A lot of people are talking about wide receiver and wanting to continue to add to that group. I like what Cleveland has already. It's still maybe a group that has a need. I think they're going to at least select a wide receiver at some point in this draft. But I think in the second round, linebacker might actually be the position where the Browns need to look towards, especially if at pick number 42, guys they might have some interest in are still available and sitting there. And my best guess is they will be, because Cleveland struggled against the run this past year. So defensive tackle was immediately the point to address. We just talked about defensive tackles, and yesterday in the position rankings, in Cleveland, certainly a fit for a couple prospects that we discussed, and you would have seen in the article as well. But Cleveland, next to JOK, they also need a middle linebacker that has the knack for stopping the run. Perhaps some of these guys in the top 3 might actually be fits for the Cleveland Browns. And we'll get to that here in just a moment. But let's turn to number 3. Number 3, Trenton Simpson of Clemson. He's a versatile linebacker who moves really well and is fantastic in pursuit. He's really a hybrid sort of player with the ability to drop in coverage, or he can make a massive play on the blitz. He's very dangerous on the blitz because of his speed and athleticism. Overall, really an impressive athlete with the willingness to attack the football. Also has some flashes of big hitting power. Really an every down type of player with great range and top tier instincts And in 2022, Simpson saw his production drop, though, which is a little bit of a concern. He needs to get better at deconstructing blocks in the box. And I'm also interested to see how he'll be utilized in the team he selected in, because like I said, he is more of a hybrid type of player, so the system's going to have to suit his needs in order for him to be productive. My best guess as to how he'll be most efficient in the NFL is in a 4-3 base defense, playing as an outside linebacker, more of a Sam, or even ideally a nickel type of position at linebacker. My player comparison for Simpson, I was just talking about the Cleveland Browns. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, a guy the Browns have on their roster and are familiar with. Simpson really matches up to his game quite well. My projection for Simpson is he's a second round guy. He's going to be right at the beginning of day 2. If he sneaks up in the late round of round 1, I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't really believe that's going to happen. I just think he's going to be a round 2 type of player. My best fits for him, Carolina. I think he can add something to that defense there. Chicago, they really have addressed the middle linebacker spot, but adding Simpson to the outside would just be another nice thing next to Edmonds and Edwards. The New York Jets, they could bring him in on a defense that has really improved in the last few years. A lot of potential, a lot of promise up there in New York. Simpson would actually just add even more value to that system. And then my wild card is Dallas, because Simpson would play a little bit more of a position like Micah Parsons, so it might not be the perfect fit to bring Simpson in, because I think it might be hard to play both of them on the field, unless we have seen Micah Parsons play like a hybrid 4-3 defensive end, an edge rusher at times, because not only is he an excellent linebacker, he's just a playmaker in general. One of the best defensive playmakers probably in the entire NFL already early in his career. In the situations that Parsons ends up playing on the edge, maybe Simpson could come in those pass rushing situations and fill in the linebacker spot that Parsons left as he got moved up to edge rusher. Perhaps a thought there for Dallas. Again, I would say Carolina, Chicago, the New York Jets have a much more straightforward system, a way they'd be able to play Simpson rather than Dallas. At number 2, a guy I really love as a prospect, Drew Sanders of Arkansas. And I actually was not as high on him come December and November. But as I watched more film, I really fell in love with his game more and more the last few months. He's more of a traditional linebacker, and Sanders really fills the gaps in the run game well. He's really a true, sure tackler, has some pop in his tackles as well. He'll really drive through with some force and lay out the ball carrier. He's strong, hard-nosed, and makes some good initial reads, which helps him when taking angles in pursuit. He rarely takes bad angles. It's usually a pretty good one. I have to say, a lot of credit to his vision there. I think he's really developed on that side of things. Not only is he impactful on first and second down, but I do think he offers value on third downs, especially as a pass rusher. He's actually quite good on the blitz. He has room to add some more mass to his frame, which could actually help him with adding some additional strength to what already is a long frame. I mean, his frame is excellent. He has that great length already, which gives him an advantage at the point of attack. Just adding some more muscle, maybe even more weight to the frame, could just increase what he can do. His man coverage skills happen to be lacking. That's not where you're going to see him succeed. I think he's okay in zone coverage, but I don't think he's going to be tasked with being in man coverage too often, because he's a true Mike linebacker. And I think he'll instantly make an impact whatever team he finds himself on, whether that is a 4-3 scheme or a 3-4 scheme. I think he can fit playing really either way. My player comparison for him is a guy I'm about to talk about here in just a moment. I'm going to say he's really the second version here of Jack Campbell. If you can't get Jack Campbell, I think Sanders is your go-to guy here in this draft. One of the two best prospects, and the two guys that I like at the top are more traditional prospects. I know that just gave away number one, but you knew who it was after not seeing him yet already on this list. My projection for Sanders, though, as we keep it with him, he's going to be a late first-round pick, maybe. Like I said, I don't think linebacker is really going to be touched in the first round this year, but he might actually be the guy to sneak up in there, probably just because he's a little bit faster, has a little bit more length than Campbell, so you might actually see him selected before, even though I think they're pretty comparable and I like Campbell slightly better. If not into the first round, you'll see him second round. He's not going to make it out of the second round. My best fits for him, Cleveland. He would be great for Cleveland in the middle. I think he's athletic enough to, if they're just playing two linebackers, be next to JOK, and he'll be that run stopper, provide that blitz ability up the middle. He would be huge for the Cleveland Browns defense. If he's sitting there at pick 42, you have to pull the trigger. Dallas would be a great fit. I know they brought back Leighton Vander Esch, but still, you got to think about the future, and Sanders would be the future there. Carolina would be a good fit. They could add him in. I think Shaq Thompson would then have to move to the outside. I think he has the ability to move to the outside, but Sanders would be a great Mike linebacker for them. Then my wild card is San Francisco. San Francisco, they already have some good linebackers there. It wouldn't be as much of a need, as much of a necessity. But again, talking about that strong defense, the rich would get richer in this situation. But Sanders would be a good fit for them, whether he'd start right away or be a role player in the rotation. My guess is the latter, but maybe the 49ers and John Lynch decide to pull the trigger on this one if he's sitting there available for them in the second round. And at number one, I mentioned it already, Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell of Iowa, I think he is a guy who unfortunately has not really gotten the respect he deserves. I mean, he's the best linebacker in the country in college football this past season, has some great ability, and he maybe hasn't gotten the due respect that he has deserved when it's come to prospect rankings and big boards here over the last few months. But I'm going to give him that due respect. Jack Campbell is number one. He and Sanders have some similarity in their game. He's probably not the number one just because he's not the most athletic of the group. He's not going to be the guy that wows you with his athleticism. He is an old school linebacker. He's rough. He's tough. He's a middle linebacker that likes to barrel downhill and fills the gaps against the run. He offers excellent leverage at the point of attack. Just has a nose for the football. One of the most consistent tacklers, and he packs a punch in his tackles. Even though he is an old school type of player, I think he's actually quite good in zone coverage and can make an impact doing most anything on the football field. That's a huge compliment for a football player when they can do anything on the field. I mean, I don't think there are many limitations for him. He has some modest range. That would be one of his limitations, one of his few. And occasionally he'll get a little too over-aggressive, which results in some bad ankles on tackles. But I think he could clean that up. I don't think that's going to be a huge problem for him because that was just an occasional situation, not any regular issue, anything to be concerned about. He's a bit slower, like I said, not the best athlete. He is a bit slower at changing directions compared to the rest of the linebacker class, but he is the best natural football player of this entire class. Ideally, again, he's a middle linebacker that finds himself in a 3-4 set, but I think he could be successful in a 4-3, successful in a 4-2-5. I just think no matter what he has to do on the football field, he's going to make an impact wherever he ends up. My player comparisons for him, Zaven Collins. I think he has enough size, enough physicality to match up with what Zaven Collins can do. And Jack Sanborn. Sanborn, a guy who played well for the Chicago Bears coming out of Wisconsin. I think Sanborn, maybe not as physical, doesn't have quite the size of Campbell. I think Campbell's a little bit bigger, but I think the skill set, how they play football, is pretty similar. My projection for him, again, a guy who could maybe sneak up at the end of the first round. With the way things are trending, probably going to be more of a day 2 pick. Second round, likely. And if he slips down to the early third, somebody just got a massive steal. My best fits for him: Miami would be a good fit. The New York Giants would be a good fit. The Dallas Cowboys would be a good fit for Jack Campbell as well. And my wild card, this team right here, the Cleveland Browns, Jack Campbell. As much as Sanders would be a good fit for the Browns, I think Campbell would be even better because Campbell's probably even stronger against the run, even better at plugging those holes than what Sanders is. Both would be good fits for the Cleveland Browns. But if he is sitting there in round 2 for Cleveland, you cannot pass up on Jack Campbell. This would be the guy that helps your defensive tackles, helps that defensive front. He's going to come crashing down, and he is going to stop the run, something that Cleveland desperately needs. That is going to do it here for day 3 of prospect rankings here for myself, Cole McDaniel, on Keon Sports. Make sure you hit the subscribe button here on the YouTube channel. Everybody out there, thanks for watching. Day 4 tomorrow.